Hi friends, and welcome to another Weeby Reads STEM video. Today for our science experiment, we are going to do something called the dancing raisins. I've never seen raisins dance, have you? I'm not even sure that they can. They don't have arms or legs, so this should be interesting. So the first thing that you want to have handy is a science experiment form. So I have a journal here that we started. And if you didn't start your journal, that's fine. I have in the comments below a PDF that has all this information on it for you, and you guys can print it out at home and have it ready to go. But in my journal, what I have is a section to write out my hypothesis, which is what I think is going to happen, and then a section to write out what I actually saw happen. And then I also want to list the materials that I used in this experiment so that other people can learn from what we've done here today. So, what we are going to use in our experiment is a clear jar so that you can see through and see what those raisins are doing. You need some Sprite or club soda. Any sort of bubbly drink would do, but you want it to be clear so that you can see what's going on. And also a pack of raisins. Raisins. So we have to think to ourselves, guys, when we put these raisins into the fluid, what do you think is going to happen to them? Do you think they're going to float? Or do you think they're going to sink to the bottom? They are kind of heavy, and usually things that are heavy sink to the bottom unless they're buoyant. So maybe these raisins have some pockets of air in them, and maybe they'll float to the top. I'm not really sure what I think is going to happen, but I'm going to write down whatever that is, whatever my prediction is, under my hypothesis section. So for today, I think I'm going to write that I believe raisins will sink because they are pretty heavy when I'm holding them here, and I just don't think that they're going to float, but maybe you think they will. Who knows? That is the fun of science. So let's set up our experiment and find out what happens. The first thing that we're going to do is pour the soda into the cup. Then we're going to add a few raisins and watch what happens. They sink. At first, that's because the raisins are denser than the soda, so they're a little bit heavier. Now keep watching what's happening next. The raisins are starting to float up to the top. So they're both sinking and floating. But do you notice something on the outside of the raisins? I see a bunch of bubbles on the outside of the raisins. And the club soda bubbles, or the Sprite bubbles, are attaching to the raisins. And look at what's happening. They go up to the top with the bubbles, and the bubbles pop when they're at the surface, and then they float back down to the bottom because the raisins are dense. But then they get more bubbles because we know that these soda drinks are so bubbly, the carbonation, and they rise back up to the top again. And this just happens over and over. Isn't science cool? See you next time.